mean, I think the 8th day, the baby maybe is feeling pain, but nobody else is feeling any pain. And so, and the baby quickly forgets it. So I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying probably the 8th day is a little more rational. I'm not saying civilized or uncivilized, just a little more rational. You do someone about the age of 13, I wouldn't recommend it, I'm telling you that. Okay. So it's to take the sign of the covenant. That is what it is. So the people are preaching circumcision. As it turned out, modern days we've seen that there may be some medicinal positive aspects to it because of AIDS and other things like that. It turns out that obviously if you're less in a situation where you can protect germs and so on in a physical sensitive place, you're going to be more open to infection of different kinds. So it has turned out that it has some positive aspects, and they've talked about, in fact, in Africa, how important it would be to circumcise everybody because it would bring the AIDS rate apparently down. I saw some estimates, I don't know exactly how much, but something like 80%, something like that among men. I can't speak for the women side of it, but it's a huge what do you call it, diminution. And you know, I think a lot of those practices, you think that they're just symbolic or religious. Often they were the experience of centuries. You know, when you didn't have plumbing and things like that, or showers, or you know, you're out in the desert someplace. You know, the bodily parts that are sensitive areas are very difficult to keep clean and open to infection in a much more massive manner than other areas of your body. Like, I'm not going to get an infection here on my forearm much, unless a mosquito bites me or something, or a spider. But there are other areas of the body that you will get infections. So I think probably in the early life of primitive man, they found some benefit to this. I'm sure that's how it grew up. Then I think the Hebrews took it over. This is my theory. I'm not provable. I can't prove this. They took it over and made it into a symbolic act. So they made a taboo out of something that was maybe useful and probably recommendable in those health circumstances at that time. Now, it turns out it has some benefits in the modern time in that one area that I spoke about. Blood. We now find that blood is a very frightening thing. Every dentist, everyone are wearing gloves. Everyone, you know, people are afraid to touch your teeth or anything like that. You go into hospitals, people are like covered over with latex, you know, and so on. The Jews had a ban on blood, you know. They would put women in their periods out of the camp, you know. Okay, oh, that's against feminism. I don't think it was a matter of feminism or anything like that. They wouldn't have sexual intercourse in the menstrual period and things like that. I have a feeling that that comes from very old traditional practices. But I don't know, I'm just saying, I don't think it's just superstition, you know, I don't think it was just superstition. There is ancient practices that come down through, you know, the experiences of a culture. They say, oh, well, we're finding if we do this, we're not getting sick. And we see that those people over there who aren't doing this are getting sick, you know, so they're banning things like homosexuality and things like that. I'm not saying that, you know, homosexuality should be banned or not banned, but they had a really huge animus against the surrounding peoples, the Canaanites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, because these were the things that they saw around them that they considered to be unclean, I suppose, is how they would put it. So now our modern world has inherited some of those things in the Judeo-Christian tradition. I'm not advocating or not advocating, but I am saying that at that time, in a more less sophisticated, I mean, everyone didn't have a shower in their house. You didn't have bars of soap that you buy at the supermarket. You were living basically in a filthy universe. And sexual intercourse was probably one of the quickest ways to transmit and get disease of any other kind, as it is still. So, I mean, they were very scrupulous and superstitious about that. That's all that I would say. So I'm not advocating circumcision for or against, but it was for them the sign of the covenant, and they made a taboo out of it. So again, the Egyptians practiced, lots of other peoples practiced. Okay, so, and a number of people eagerly, they wanted to reach understanding with the pagans. For since we separate ourselves from them, many misfortunes have overtaken us. Remember the scrolls? Separate yourselves from the children of the pit, including your own people, not just other people's, but your own people. Go out in the wilderness, live a totally pure existence. Make a straight way in the wilderness, prepare a way for your God. Come, they said, let us reach understanding. This proposal proved acceptable, and a number of people eagerly approached the king, who authorized them to practice pagan observances. So they built a gymnasium, there we go. Everyone was oiling up, getting into it, such as the pagans have, disguised their circumcision. There's the big deal right there, right from the get-go, in terms of what we've been talking about. Again, that's abandon the Holy Covenant. The two are connected. You disguise circumcision, you abandon the Holy Covenant. Submitting to heathen rule and being willing slaves of impiety. Those are pretty tough charges. So this book is really big on these charges of what the backsliders and the renegades, whatever you want to call them, are doing. I bring back the Dead Sea Scroll studies. In normative Dead Sea Scroll studies, the Maccabees are considered the wicked priests who are abolishing the law and this kind of thing. It is so preposterous, it is so stupid, it is so abysmally ignorant. I wrote my first book, Maccabees Antichrist Christians, and come on criticizing that proposition. But you will hear, again, one after the other, of the people who conform to the reigning hypothesis, the reigning theories, parrot this same proposition. One or another of the Maccabees were the wicked priests. No, they were not. The Herodian priests were the wicked priests. The Herodian priests appointed by the Herodian family and the Roman Empire, they were the wicked priests in the Dead Sea Scrolls. That is, and the reason they get this Maccabees is the dating again. So, you can also bring that point up should you ever wish to. It's preposterous when the scrolls are totally for the law, totally against everything we have that the Maccabee books